we used to have trouble with my daughter. We have a family joke because it was like Saturday, and my husband said, you need to drink this glass of water. And she said, I drink water on Thursday. Hello, and welcome to Caregiver Forum Stories. I'm Grace Hobson, and I'm with A Place for Mom, and I'm sitting here today with Heidi Shelton, somebody who knows a lot about managing aging parents. Heidi, tell us about your experience with aging parents.
Well, Grace, I work at A Place for Mom also, and I help train a lot of the senior living advisors who talk to families through a really rough time. And I also have my own aging parents as well.
Great. Well, let's just dive in. Okay, we have a Reddit post titled Phishing Calls to Landline. This is a thread on aging parents. Mom is over 85 and lives on her own. She has a landline only and no computer or post-1980s technology. She is frail and beginning to have memory issues. I don't live near her. Last week, a caller persuaded her that she was about to be arrested for money laundering and needed to transfer all of her money into a new bank account. Oh, geez. The bank stopped her from sending all her money to this person in the form of bank drafts. The police were involved. I knew she was getting a lot of phishing calls, but she said no to any solution I offered. No, she doesn't want the robocall blocker service. That's what I was going to suggest. Caller ID doesn't help because the callers spoof local numbers. No, she doesn't want assisted living. They screen calls. I posted info near her phone. She trusts the callers more than me. She had a lovely talk with the police and the bank manager. She seems to understand, but she forgets. She has been told not to answer the phone or to hang up. She ignores this advice. Thoughts, commiseration, ideas. Yeah, this is hard.
That is hard. I hope she got her money back.
Oh, that's a good point. It sounds like the bank stopped it.
Okay.
So there was a backstop there, but what do they do if they don't have that? What happens if, the bank doesn't get involved?
Unfortunately, Grace, I feel that our seniors are in a population that get targeted quite frequently.
So true.
And I think sometimes they're lonely. Sometimes they want to help. They have giving natures, and then they get taken advantage of.
Right.
And I think this is an example of something like that happening.
Yeah, they're so clever these days,
Yes.
too, about what they tell the senior. Or, it doesn't even have to be a senior that's getting defrauded. This happens every day.
I might have, seen some great deals online with a company that I wasn't familiar with, and I possibly may have had to cancel my credit card as a result.
Oh, dear. Oh, my gosh.
That may have happened. But hey, that's, it happens to everybody.
I remember the first time I got that Microsoft call where they're like, there's something wrong with your Microsoft computer. And I was like, oh, they know there's something wrong with my Microsoft. So if it can happen to us and we're used to technology, it's just so hard. And so it sounds like also memory loss is a problem here because you can tell somebody something, they can agree to it, but then if they don't remember the next day or 3 days later and then the same thing happens, what do you do?
And it sounded like the writer actually put a note next to the phone to warn her or his mother. So perhaps...
Right. That is such a good point. They're doing everything that they can. Like everything that we would tell them to do.
And that do not call list, I think I would have suggested that too. So that would have been a really good suggestion.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well, she says that the mom doesn't want the robocall blocker service.
Right.
Okay, so this is where I would just go ahead and sign her up. Would you do that too?
I would.
Yeah. Sometimes there's overstepping, but sometimes there's like getting involvement when you just really have to. Well, my mom will actually talk to the telemarketer. It's so funny. One time we were like at a family gathering, we're all hanging out, and my mom's on the phone. And then I hear her ask about her daughter. Like she can hear her daughter in the background. We're like, oh, who are you talking to?
Huh.
It was a telemarketer.
Oh.
She was just talking to her, like having a good conversation.
Yeah.
We're like, Mom, hang up. But, she enjoys, she's a good, kind-hearted person.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that telemarketer was a fraudster, but you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do, though, about memory care and assisted living? Because it sounds like she might need some actual help here, too.
Well, I think we would need to take a look at all different parts of her life and see if there's evidence of maybe memory loss or poor decision making in other areas, and then really think about getting her tested.
Oh, that's a good idea. Go to a doctor. Yeah, sometimes getting a physician involved could help. I wonder, too, of just having her tour an assisted living place or even independent living. I don't know if that would be an option for her to start considering. So here's a comment that we had. Okay. We had a similar issue with my mom, changed her landline number and moved her old number to a cell phone that my sister carries. It's a good idea. This way she can still capture legitimate calls. Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
But then you'd be responsible for all of the phone calls for your mom, right? I mean, for that sister.
But the new phone is just going to load up with the robocalls too. Want to go to another question?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a Reddit post here titled "Asking Mom Not to Drive." This is a thread on aging parents.
That's tough.
Our elderly mom learned to drive aggressively in a large city and now lacks the quick reflexes to safely be at the wheel of an automobile. She's retired too and has totaled her car when she ran a four-way stop sign. Oh dear. Somehow she sweet-talked herself out of a ticket, which would have resulted in a retest of her driving capabilities. A new used car was purchased for her by our stepdad. Us kids would rather he wouldn't have, but his heart was in the right place. Not long after, Mom accelerated into the garage, destroying the garage door and doing major damage to stepdad's car when it got slammed into the back wall of the garage. Okay, I just the other day hit the back wall of our garage. That happens. Okay. There's also some previous accidents due to careless errors by Mom or overly aggressive driving back. So, has anyone else traveled this road before? Oh yeah, for sure. Even stepdad finally gets it. I've tried the approach of Mom. Remember when you were worried about your dad driving and had to ask him to stop? She claims it was the car's fault. It jumped forward, she says. We could go to the DMV for her county and report her as an unsafe driver. Is there a firm but gentler approach that you have found successful? My best idea is to make certain another car isn't purchased for her use. Present good nearby options of shuttles, public bus, Lyft, Uber, etc. What worked with your parents, or are you similarly struggling? Yeah, taking the keys away is always it's that huge step that is really hard with parents.
I mean, that's their freedom, that's their independence. And I have talked to some families who have actually hidden the car keys, so that way they try to keep their parents safe that way. I don't know, I think that would be hard without having a conversation, because then it would almost make your loved one feel like they're going crazy because they can't find the car keys.
Oh my gosh, that would be horrible.
So I think having a conversation would be a good place to start in this type of a scenario, to really just bring up safety and talk about what options might be out there. I know some states actually have testing that they do with their older senior drivers. So maybe they can look into seeing when she would get tested again based on her age.
I remember when it got to this point with my very sweet grandmother. She failed the driver's test twice, and she insisted that it was, the
DMV?
The DMV, yeah. What do you call that? The tester guy.
Oh, gotcha.
And and she actually did the test. They live in Southeast Kansas, and she did the test in Pittsburgh, and then she did the test like in Girard. I think it was Girard. I don't know, another town, and she failed both times. I know. I felt so bad because she was so, she's very responsible. She would never do anything to hurt anybody, and she really did think that her driving abilities were fine. Okay, so we have stepdad to help.
Yep.
We go to the DMV. Yep. We emphasize safety.
I think Lyft and Uber is, a fantastic tool, and it would still give her freedom.
Yes.
It would just have to be more of a pre-planning type of activity. So
True.
I think that would be preferable than just taking the keys altogether and just saying, I'll drive you wherever you want to go. I think that's kind of
Yeah.
taking away that independence. And I
Exactly.
think that'd be really hard. I think that would be tough. I would have a hard time with that.
Oh, I agree. In a lot of ways, it's never been a better time to be an elderly person. To have Lyft and Uber, I
Yeah.
mean, you put that on your app and they are there instantly. So you have that agency. You don't have to wait on a service to come get you or a bus line. You can use that. Okay, so here's some comments about that.
Okay.
There's no way to be gentle about this now. You've already tried and she's not getting it. Not only is she a danger to drivers and pedestrians, her insurance rate is about to go through the roof. Good point. Even your stepdad's rate will go up just because he lives with her. Yeah, that's a good point. And that's a good point where, paying for a driver is, going to be cheaper. In my state, a road test is required for renewals once you're over 75. Yeah, that's in Kansas too. I just tried to renew my mother-in-law's driver's license online, and they were like, no way.
She has to come in.
You have to come in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then the interval for renewal gets shorter from 4 years to 2 to 1. That's good to hear. I believe it's the only state with such a requirement, although probably all states have some sort of requirement for renewals. My mom was still driving until she was almost 90, no accidents, and was safe, but she stopped night driving. But she had bad vertigo and hadn't driven for a couple months. Then her doctor recommended she not renew, and she agreed. I'm not sure if your mom would listen to her doctor. Good point. If you could get them to talk to her. Okay, that's a really good point. Sometimes people will not, listen to you, but they'll listen to another authority figure.
And you could even call ahead to talk to that doctor.
I think that's a good idea.
Just to warn him or
Yeah.
her that, hey, mom's struggling with her driving. So maybe you could test her sight, test, all the things to make sure that she's safe.
Okay, our next Reddit post is entitled, Any Fun Ways to Boost Water and Fluid Consumption? This is another thread on an Aging Parents forum. So my mom is dehydrated. She always has a little water bottle with her, but she doesn't drink much. I've tried flavoring the water. That was not a hit. She will drink fruit juice and soda sometimes, but the nurse at her assisted living community is concerned. Nagging does not seem effective. Is there any fun way to do this you suggest?
My mom has, she had chronic UTIs. So drinking water was really imperative to ensure that they wouldn't continue to reoccur. So she now makes sure that she drinks 20 ounces in the morning of water and then 20 ounces in the afternoon. And she has like a certain time frame where she knows that she has to drink it. And so it's been working. And 20 ounces really isn't that much water if you think about it. And Gatorade has actually been recommended by her doctor.
Oh, good. And does she like it? Does she have a flavor she likes?
She does. And there's Gatorade that is no sugar.
Oh, yeah. Those
Which is-
zero sugars.
yes.
I love those.
Yes.
Yeah.
I drink
good.
them now too.
Yeah, me too. I had 2 at lunch yesterday.
Yeah.
2 of them.
It's good for
Yeah.
hydration.
Yeah. So, and does she have like a fancy water bottle?
It's
that
not
she...
fancy, but it's a designated one.
It's a designated, right. So like
Yep.
a specific water bottle that she knows she has to drink this amount of water this time of day. And yeah, that's great.
And it works. Yeah, she
Good.
might drink her wine later in the evening.
Yeah, that's
but she
okay.
will have drunk the water throughout the day.
That's good.
So,
yeah. When I think of dehydration and assisted living, I think about this really cool place I toured once that was using these gels, and it was some new product on the market where it was either gels or like a frozen thing that they gave all of their residents, and their dehydration rate just cut dramatically, because it's a huge thing in the elderly community is dehydration. So trying to find fun ways. What do you...
water, if you drink a lot of it, can be tasteless. We all, get tired of water. But you can do things, maybe not flavor it by maybe some of those packets that have sugar and everything else in it. But what you could do is maybe put some cucumber in it, maybe some raspberries.
Yeah, strawberries.
Yeah, or some
Yeah.
of those sparkling waters. You can make it even fancy.
I think, maybe like popsicles.
Yep. Yep.
I'm a big fan of popsicles.
Yeah.
They have those frozen Pedialites. Like if a kiddo is sick, you can get these frozen packets.
Oh.
They're like those, those fruit.
Ices.
Those ices.
Ices.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that might help.
But it would be healthy. Like it would be a Pedialyte. Interesting.
Exactly.
I didn't know they had those.
Yeah.
Watermelon also, it would be something that they could, if they like watermelon, that's very water-based.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure an assisted living place, if you just ask, hey, can you put out some watermelon regularly?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Pineapple, isn't that a really good one too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. I bet the assisted living place also would make sure she has some written reminders, put a chart on her, door or, mirror in her apartment. That's a great thing about being in assisted living is that she does have people watching out for her that can help whoever, the adult child with this, as well.
And good reminders, I think sometimes we just need reminders. And they know that somebody's checking in on them. They might kind of spur them a little bit, motivate them to be like, oh, Janet's going to ask me, I better drink my water.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's such a good point. That's another thing about assisted living, too, is you could have some accountability there. Maybe she's got a girlfriend in assisted living who can, they could have like a little accountability thing, or they can make a game. Like, I drank this many ounces today. How much did you drink? If she's got a roommate.
A little competition.
Exactly.
Never hurt anyone.
I like a competition. I like to gamify. Yeah.
Gamify.
Like it. Yeah. And maybe also asking their doctor. Like, this is another thing where sometimes just having that authority figure, you go to your doctor and the doctor says, hey, we need this many ounces a day.
Yeah.
Maybe that would help. Okay, so we got some comments for this.
Okay.
For whatever reason, my mom will drink way more liquids and water specifically if a straw is involved.
Huh.
I have no idea why, but it seems to work. So that's good.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's the container. Like if it's a fun container, you're excited about using it.
Yes.
It sometimes comes down to the little things, Grace.
Oh, I totally agree, Heidi. Oh my gosh.
It's fun.
We used to have trouble with my daughter. We have a family joke because it was like Saturday and my husband said, you need to drink this glass of water. And she said, I drink water on Thursday.
Well,
so we're always saying, well, she drank water on Thursday.
That's
but now we've got, every year it seems like there's a new water bottle. So she has the water bottle. It's not expensive. She's got her one water bottle that she loves. She puts stickers on it, gets the ice.
Make it your own. Yeah.
Make it her own.
Yeah, I like
it.
it.
Okay, so straws and water bottles. I like it. Okay. Now this is going to be fun. This post title is Chester Drawers.
Chester
So
drawers.
Chester.
As in
Chester?
Chester?
Yeah,
Chester. Okay.
the man.
All right.
The name.
Bring it.
Drawers. Okay.
Chester
this
drawers.
is a thread on an aging parents forum.
Okay.
This is on Reddit. Okay. If my mom, oh my gosh, this is so funny. Okay, if my mom uses this term one more time, I think my brain might implode. LOL. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this isn't Dad walking around in his drawers. She's saying Chester drawers instead of chest of drawers. Oh my gosh.
Okay, now I get it. I think that's a fun little nuance of your
it's a
loved one.
quirk.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I agree, Grace. Let's not correct her. Let's just let her continue to say that. And I think that's fine.
I agree. Of all things.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We have some comments.
Oh, of course.
Okay. One comment says, my mom says she's from Scotch people and makes me insane. What does Scotch people mean? She's from Scotch people. Response to this comment is butterscotch or hopscotch. This Scot wants to know. Oh, so instead of saying she's Scottish or she's a Scot, you see those memes every once in a while, like all the list of things that, like people say supposedly instead of supposedly. People think the word is supposedly.
I say words incorrectly all the time.
My sister always mispronounces words, and my son does this too. And I once had somebody who's super smart in the words business say it's because they get their vocabulary from reading instead of like hearing it. We always joke about, my sister once said Howard Hughes, that Howard Hughes guy, but she read the word.
She's never heard
Hughes
being said.
She was young. Why would she have ever heard Howard Hughes? But she read it as Howard Hughes, and it's super cute and got the point across. Okay, here's another comment that says, my mother-in-law says marinara sauce instead of marinara sauce. Oh, marinara sauce instead of marinara. And oregano, instead of oregano. Oh, that's cute. But my mom says smoothies instead of smoothies, and I think it's the cutest thing ever. Okay, so the original poster is saying, okay, so in mid-age, my mom started to mix up words, often with humorous results. We used to have a laugh. Well, guess what? It's genetic. I am doing the same thing now, to the delight of my kid who laughs at me.
Aww,
that is great. It comes around.
Full circle.
Exactly.
Aww.
Oh, that's so cute. Okay, so I'm going to have to start saying Chester drawers now. I'm going to love that. This is something hard that every family grapples with. If you're lucky enough to have aging parents, you are going to grapple with this at some point.
On a personal level, I don't even want to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's denial.
We all want to deny.